Given the amount of exercises with bodybuilding, we've got so many for every body part. How do we decide what exercise we should choose and what's effective for us personally?
Does that exercise seem to give you tension in the target muscle? Like if I'm trying to figure out a bicep exercise and I do a certain exercise like a wide grip, straight barbell curl, look, I don't know, I feel a lot of tension in my forearms, but I can't really feel much in my biceps. Maybe that's not the right thing. But if I have an easy curl, maybe for me that works better. The easy curl bar, I curl, and holy crap, I feel my bicep tightening up and tensing. And at the bottom where there's a stretch, I feel like it's going to explode. Like, okay, clearly the bicep is being trained. If you're using higher repetitions, you may not be able to really feel the disruptive tension as much, but you'll feel a burn. So if someone, is doing squats and there's doing them in two different styles, let's say very wide stance and then normal stance, wide stance, they'll do a set of 15. They'll be like, ooh, I really feel a burn in my inner thighs and my glutes. And someone will be like, oh, what about your quads? Well, not really. So maybe it's not a great quad exercise, but if you move your feet closer together, all of a sudden you get a crazy burn towards the end of a set in your quads. And someone's like, hey, is that training your quads? You're like, yes, it has to be, because why are they on fire? So those are an example of stimulus proxies. Another one is like, how big of a pump does it get you in the target muscle? Another example comes to mind from curling. Like sometimes you do some kind of weird implement, some kind of grip for a curl, like a cable curl, some different attachment, and someone's like, you got a big pump, right? And you're like, yes, in my forearms, not in my biceps. And like, that's not a very good sign. None of these are, by the way, like the definite one thing you have to feel. Some combination of all of them is pretty good. Another one is disruption. Are your muscles tired? Are they weak? The target muscles that you're going after. Like, if you tell me there's like a movement you're doing for your back that just tortures your back and blows up your lats, but after 5 sets of it, you can do as many pull-ups as you could fresh, I'm inclined to believe that movement used something entirely different. Because how could your muscles be 5 working sets deep and still have all of their strength? BS. But if you try to do a pull-up after 5 sets of an incredible pull-down and you're like, I can't move, this is crazy. Well, that's really good. That means your muscles were toasted. Lastly, if they get sore later that day or the day after, geez, it's hard to argue. If you do a bunch of walking lunges and your glutes get sore, it's very difficult to say, like, oh, those aren't hitting your glutes super well. Like, well, why can't I sit down in a toilet anymore? Of course they're hitting my glutes super well. So those are the stimulus proxies. You want them as high as possible. Exercises that get them really cooking, those tend to be good exercises. But there's a denominator in that equation. There's stimulus on the top of the equation, and you divide that by the fatigue. And the fatigue is like, especially how much did your joints and connective tissues hurt? So for example, if you have a leg press at your gym and a hack squat at your gym, not all hack squats and leg presses are designed the same. And you're like, okay, I want a really good quad exercise. You try the leg press and like your quads get pretty lit up, but then like your hips hurt and your knees feel weird the day after. And you're like, ugh, like I sure hope this isn't just what leg training is normally like. You try the hack squat, your quads get just as lit, no better, but your joints feel like cream and butter. The best thing ever, no problem. Someone's like, hey, are your hips hurting? You're like, what? Where are the hips here? I got nothing. No, I got nothing.